This is the answer key to the February 8th Classwork Desmos questions. The first question, you have to fill out the percent for fifths. 0/5 is 0%. 1/5, if you memorize a chart, 1/5 represents 20%. If 1/5 is 20%, then 2/5 is double that, which is 40%. 3/5 is 3 times the amount of 1/5. 1/5 is 20, 3/5 would be 60%. 4/5, 20% times 4 is 80%, and 5/5 is 1 whole, which equals 100%. That's how I could fill out this table. Question 2. The thirds. 0/3 is 0%. 1/3 is 33.3 repeating, or 33 and 1/3%. If 1/3 is 33 and 1/3, then 2/3 is double that, which is 66 and 2/3%. And then 3/3 is 1 whole, which is 100%. Shade the grid to represent the ratio 9/25, then find the percent equivalent. So to find percent, you make it out of 100. So 9/25, 25 times 4 is 100, 9 times 4 is 36. The answer is 36%. You're going to shade 3 complete rows and 6 of the next. For 36 out of 100, shaded. Identify a benchmark you can use to find 6/10. We know that 6/10 comes from 1/10. 1/10 is 10%. So to find 6/10, you do 10% times 6. 60% is the percent equivalent of 6/10. Identify a benchmark you can use to find the equivalent percent for the ratio. 4/5 comes from 1/5. 1/5 equals 20%. That's something you should memorize. If 1/5 is 20%, 4/5 is 4 times that amount. So the answer is 80%. Model the decimal 1.07. 1.07 means 1 and 7/100ths. I could rewrite 1 whole as 100/100 plus 7/100ths equals 107/100. That's the ratio, and then the percent is 107%. I want to know what's the total number of songs that Carl downloaded last year. So if you look at that little chart, country is 15 songs, rock is at 20, classical is 5, world is 10. If I add that all up, it equals a total of 50 songs downloaded. What fraction of the songs were country, and find the percent equivalent? If I looked at country, that's 15 out of 50 songs. We found 50 in the other question. So 15 country songs out of a total of 50. I wanted to make that into percent, so make it out of 100. The answer is 30% of Carl's songs are country. Find the percent equivalent of the fraction. Now I know that 1/4 is 25%. 1/8 is half of a fourth. So I could take 25 divided by 2, that equals 12.5%. So 1/8 is another fraction you may want to write down to memorize. And you know that 1/8 is half of 1/4. So to fill this chart out, if you notice I put stars on some of them, these are ones that you should memorize. We know that 2/8 equals 1/4, which is 25%. 4/8 equals a half, which you know is 50%. 6/8 is actually 3/4, which is 75%. Remember, think of fourths as quarters. And then 8/8 is 1 whole, which is 100%. So when you're figuring out eighths, you actually only really need to, if you memorize those, you should know the rest. 1/8 is 12.5%. 3/8, I could add 1/8 plus 2/8. So if you add 12.5 plus 25, you get 37.5. To get 5/8, just add 4/8 plus 1/8, so 50 plus 12.5, 62.5. 7/8, you add 6/8 plus 1/8, so 75 plus 12.5 to get 87.5. Now, if you're not sure about adding the two to make that new you can also always divide, let's say 7/8, 7 divided by 8 to get 0.875, and then multiply that by 100 to get 87.5. Write the percent 5% as a fraction and as a decimal. 5% is 5 over 100, and as a decimal is 0.05, 5 hundredths. Write the percent 75% as a fraction and as a decimal. 75% as a fraction is 3/4, as a decimal is 0.75. Write the fraction 258 over 300 as a decimal and a percent. So in order to make it into percent, I have to make it out of 100. So when I make it out of 100, you divide the top and bottom terms both by 3, so it's 86%. And as a decimal, it would be 0.86% would be 86 hundredths, which is 0.86. That's how you write it as a decimal. I want to show, right, as a fraction, percent, and a decimal. So 12/15, I can't make that out of 100, so I had to simplify 12 over 15, divided both by 3. So 4/5 is the fraction representation of 12/15. Now I want to change 4/5 into a percent. If 4/5 comes from 1/5, 1/5 is 20%. So 20% times 4 is 80%. Now I want to change 80% to a decimal. 80% is 80 out of 100, which is 0.80 or just 0.8. You don't need to have that 0 at the end. So this is the fraction, percent, and decimal of 12/15. Remember, I simplified it first and then figured out the percent. Each diagram is made up of smaller identical pieces. Tell how many pieces you would shade to model 25%. We know that 25% is really 1/4. That means for every 4 triangles, 1 will be shaded. So I made a proportion down here. If for every 1 shaded, there's 4 triangles, there are a total of 24 triangles in the image. I counted 12 on top, 12 on the bottom, that's 24. So I filled this out. 4 times 6 makes 24. 1 times 6 makes 6. That means for every 24 triangles, 6 will be shaded. So in the picture, if I shade 6 of them, that's me modeling 25% shaded.